All right. Good evening, guys. Just waiting. Sorry for just starting a little bit late. Just waiting for the other guys to tune in. Just wanted to start this this whole lecture on while at least everyone is here. All right. So I welcome you again to another session for advanced for information management. Okay. I was about to say, the full name of your module of your course, advanced. I think it's advanced diploma, right, in business management. All right, so so today it's another lecture, right? But this one now, last week I just gave you an overview, right, of how we will be doing. But today we are starting on unit 1, right? So today we are starting with unit 1, which is business information systems in your career. These things are very practical. I know it's a theoretical module, but you can actually apply it wherever you are, because some of these things that we are learning about, some of you guys, you meet with them day to day in your workplaces. You might not have known it back then, but some of you guys maybe you are using information systems each and every day. So without wasting much of your time, let me try to project the slides here, and then we're not going to take much time, right? We're not going to take much time because this is just a very short unit. It's a very short unit, just to give you an introduction of information systems in your career, right? So basically, we're just going to do a brief. I just took some components, right? I just took some components in the first unit that I think are very important, right? So I remember there was a question about this. So I'm actually covering a question, right? There was once a question that came, I think, in an assignment and also in part of an exam, where they will be saying, describe or elaborate on the dimensions of information management. Then they say 25 marks, right? So we're actually covering a question as I'm doing the slides. Remember last time I told you that to do a certain thing, then we do a question. So now actually this is actually a question on its own. So there was no need for me to cover it and then look for the question, because while at least I'm attempting to answer this one, we will actually be, answering the exam. So there, according to your study guide, some of these things are universal, right? So it's not only a concept that your lecturer is teaching you, but even if when you go and find external sources, maybe scholars and so forth, you come to find out that these are the same. So there are 3 dimensions of what we call information systems. So when we're talking about dimensions, what make up, right, the information system? Without these dimensions, right, the information systems will not be able to be used, right, completely. So it cannot be information systems without these 3 dimensions. The first thing is the organization. So basically, it has to be used by a certain company. That's what we say. So people, when they are making information system, programmers, when they are making up information system, I'm hoping that I'm quite audible, right? If I'm not, just highlight, but I'm assuming that I'm really quite audible. So when they're creating an information system, obviously they've got a market, right? They're making it for a market. They're making it for a company. For example, when they make a management information system, MIS, there has to be a company that has to use it, right? So that's where the organization is coming in. Then the second dimension there is the people, right? So if the organization is there, the organization cannot be an organization without the people. There has to be management, they've got to be employees, they've got to be this and that, people there. So the people themselves have got to use the information system, right? Robots are not the ones that are going to use the information system. It's people themselves. So there has to be people And then the third thing is the technology, right? You need computers, you need this and that for you to be able to use that information system that has been designed. So these are the three dimensions that are really, really, really critical when an information system is being deployed. All right, so let's start with organization. So we're actually answering, right? So the full question is, what you need to do is, when you are attempting that question, I'm not so sure what type of a question the lecturer will bring for this semester, but normally if it's not in part, right? If it's not part, like for example, they will say describe this, then they say 10 marks, and describe that, then they say maybe 20 marks, right? If it is just one assignment, maybe 30 marks. What you need to do is you need to put an introduction, body, and conclusion. Then in the body there, that's where now we are putting subheadings. Like you start by describing what 3 dimensions are. I'm going to show you all of this when you're doing the assignment, right? But I'm just giving you an overview. Then you need to put a subtopic, organization, you put a subtopic, technology, you put a subtopic, people, and then you describe each and every entity separately, right? So let's start by describing organization. So we are saying the key elements of an organization are its people, right? The people itself. So somehow you see that these dimensions are interlinked, because an organization cannot exist without the people, right? So that's why you see people also are making up the organization. And then organization also is made up of the infrastructure, right? So it can be technology infrastructure, it can be physical infrastructure like buildings and so forth, right? So you see that these dimensions, they are interlinked, they are together, right? So the key elements, right? The key elements of an organization are its people, right? The people themselves, the structure, the organizational structure. When we're talking about the organizational structure, we're talking about the hierarchy, right? How is the organizational formed, right? Does it use a hierarchical structure? Does it use a horizontal structure, right? Does it use, there are so many organizational structures out there, maybe metrics and so forth, right? So that's what make up an organization: the people, the structure, the business process, how they do the process that they do when they are doing their business, right? Are they much into production? Are they much into offering services and so forth? So that type of business processes, it also falls under that particular organization. Then the politics, there's also, politics of the organization, right? You come to find out that this department, they don't want to share information with this department. This department is competing with this department. These guys, they don't see eye to eye with the other. It's the politics of an organization, right? And the culture. So there are cultures that are different. I can give you an example. Google. So Google, when you go to Silicon Valley, right? What they do, these guys, is they don't work in your normal office setup. So what they do is, the company has got a gym, they've got more like a canteen, they've got places to sleep, they've got a play area. So what you do is you go to work. If you feel like you want to work, you work. Then when you are feeling tired, you can go and sleep, or you can go and take a shower, or you can go and eat something. Everything is being catered by the company, is the culture. Google embraced that type of culture because it allows creativity. Normally, people that really need to think, there are times where you just need to relax a little bit, right? So that you can get your what they call an aha moment, right? That that moment when something strikes your head. So you just need to be in a relaxed state of mind. So that's the reason why Google had to embrace that type of organizational culture, right? Then an organization coordinates will work through a structured hierarchy and formal standard operating procedures. So I explained this, right? So under the organization now, that's where you find the managerial, the professional, the technical employees, the upper levels, and so forth, right? And then each organization has got a unique culture. I give an example of that. right? And now the part of an organizational culture can be found in its information systems, right? So now let's go to people, right? We are done with the organization. Let's go to the people. So an information system will be useless if there are no skilled personnel. There has to be someone that operates, that knows how to use the system, right? So the people themselves, they need to operate and to maintain that information system in order to achieve business objective. Because at the end of the day, people are there that they can achieve the business objective. So if people in the business are not trained to use the information system, the business objectives will not be easy to meet. You see now. So if the people, that's why it's a dimension now, because if the people are not trained, if the people do not use the information system directly, it will affect the operational excellence of the company, thereby affecting the business objectives, right? So every business, it requires skilled staff, right? Those that are involved in handling situation in the business and make decisions, right? Using the information systems, right? So you come to realize that what is much more expensive in an organization is not the technology, it's the people, right? The people are the ones that are expensive, you see, because if you want a company to succeed in the market, you get the top of the cream guys, right? Those guys, they don't come cheap. They will tell you, my friend, with the experience that I have, I need 70K. You see, if we're talking about maybe like guys in top what do you call it, in the high upper levels of management, tell you with this type of knowledge that I have, it doesn't come cheap, my friend. I need like 50K per month, 60K per month. So the people now are that dimension that is a little bit expensive, but they play a key role, right, in problem solving and so forth. Now, let's look at the technology, the third dimension. So you come to realize that information technology has many tools which managers, because remember, you guys, you are doing an advanced diploma in business management. So when we're talking about managers, we're talking about you, right? So it has many tools which managers can use to cope with changes. So remember, we are living in a world where things are changing almost every day. Look at the phone that you're using today right now. I don't think that that's the same phone that you're using 5 years ago or 3 years ago or even a year ago. These guys, they keep on, putting out, latest phones and so forth. Why? Because it's change. That's the same thing with information system, with the technology that an organization uses, right? So a firm's information technology infrastructure, it is the platform or foundation on which a firm can build its information system. So an information system, when it is coming and being used in a company, there has to be computers, there have to be internet, they have got those. So those things now, that's the infrastructure of information technology. You cannot use a software when you don't have a computer, right? So first of all, you need all right. So you need a computer as an organization. First, you need internet so that people can access, or maybe to communicate with the outside world, right? And so forth. So that's what it's talking about. So now the IT infrastructure, it consists of, right? Okay, where's all right. So it consists of what we call computer hardware. Computer hardware, that is the physical equipment and computing devices used for input, storage, processing, output. So there's actually, I'll check if we'll see later on if your study guide will cover this, because there's another question, because it reminds me of another question that once came in information management, where they were actually asking you about these 4 processes of an information system, right? So an information system, basically, it must be able to have an input, storage, processing, and output. So generally, all these 4 stages, right? There has to be a computer hardware for that. For you to input, you need a monitor and a screen and a keyboard. Storage, you need hard drive. Processing, CPU, right? Which is the brains of the computer. Output, that's your monitor. You need to see what you are doing, right? And then there's telecommunications. When talking about telecommunications, we're talking about the LAN cables, those cables that you put for internet, or we're talking about your routers or routers, Wi-Fi routers, and so forth, right? Then the other infrastructure, IT infrastructure that is used is computer software. So basically what a software is, it's a pre-programmed instructions that control and coordinate the computer hardware components, right? Like for example, your Microsoft Word or this Zoom, it is a software. This software is just instructions that when I click this, do this. When he clicks this, do that. When with the mouse clicks this, do that. So it's just instructions, basically. Instructions that you are giving to the hardware in order to achieve a certain objective on the computer. Basically, that's what a computer software is. Then there's what we call data management software. Now we are talking about databases, right? You can have servers, data centers, and so forth. So the software governing the organization of data on physical storage data. So now this database management system, they call it DBMS, database management software, right? So you can have your maybe Postgres, there are so many out there. A very good example of this might be Microsoft Access, right? It is a database management software. Then there's what we call networking and telecommunications technology. So these are a combination of hardware and software used to link various pieces of hardware and transfer data from one physical location to another. So what they're just saying is, for example, you have a company that have got different what do you call it, offices, and you need to communicate, right? Maybe you want the computers to communicate and to share data. That's where networking and telecommunication technology comes into play. So now when we're talking about networking, a computer network, we're talking about a link between two or more computers together to do what? To share data, to share files, images, sounds, video, and resources, right? A very good example of a computer network is the internet. Like you remember last time when I was telling you that the internet is a connection of computers all over the world. You remember when I was telling you that, right? So when I gave you an example, like last year, was it last year or this year? Well, like I said that you couldn't access Google for a certain time, right? It's because our computer or our devices, phone, whatever it was, it couldn't communicate with the servers of Google. So which means that if Google, wherever their servers are, if it's on fire, then everything will be on fire for you. The storage on Google Drive, your emails, your Googling machine, search engine, you can't access. Why? Because it's our computer communicating with the computers of Google. The same with Facebook. If the Facebook servers are down, you won't be able to get you won't be able to access Facebook, even if the internet is up, because it's communication of computers, right? It's communication of computers. So basically the internet is the world's largest, mostly widely used network. So the internet is a global network that uses universal technology standards to connect many private and public networks. So the networks now are divided into two, right? Private, when you're talking about private, you may talk about maybe a network for where computers within an organization only communicate. They can't communicate with something outside. But now when you make it public, it's now, when you're saying public, you're now talking to computers outside your organization, right? So those are the two types of networks. So those combination of two makes up what is called the internet. All right, so how does information system affect business careers, right? How does information systems affect? Because that's what your unit 1 is all about. So an information system is a field of study which is changing and growing fast day by day. What's obviously this technology, right? So the growth of businesses has led to the great demand for information systems to be developed to serve the business needs. So these days, it's easy to do things manually. Just imagine, I remember when we were still at school, when we were doing accounts, I'm not so sure if there are guys who once did accounts. They were told you, hey, there's what they call a ledger, there's what they call cash book, journals, what I don't even remember some of the things. Hey, you need to create a trial balance and so forth, balance sheet and so forth, right? We used to do it manually, right? But nowadays there are systems made that you don't need to keep those big books, right? Just type in stuff. It's done. Yeah, someone saying cash receipt journal. Yes, you see. So that's the good part of information systems, right? They are developed to serve the business needs, to make life easier. There's no need to do much of labor, physical labor, when there's an easy way to do things. So now, okay. Now we're talking about information systems in career. So there are people who are doing accounting. I gave an example of accounting, right? Talking about, I gave an example of some of those physical, things that they used. So they are information systems. Don't worry, we're going to talk about them, right? They're information system for people that are in accounting. So that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about how information system will affect your business career. So don't worry, we're going to show how information systems affect people that are into accounting, marketing itself, right? Maybe a couple of years back, people had to go in the street, hey guys, we're selling this product. Hey guys, some of the guys are even doing it now, right? When you go maybe directly into CBD, wherever you are, you might find guys that are marketing for a product physically, right? But information system has made life easier. Someone can be at home with a business and does not even have a marketing team. He will be the business owner and the marketing person, right? Without even going in the field, and still be successful in the business. Thanks to what? Thanks to information systems, right? Because information systems has got some certain ways that will allow a person to market without them being there physically. Then we've got what we call operations management, right? So when I'm talking about operations management, we're just talking about day-to-day operations. It can be control, it can be costs, overseeing, strategy, planning, resources, requirements. It's just day-to-day operations. So some of these things are made easier, right? By what? By use of information systems, right? And then there's what we call offshoring and outsourcing. This is before COVID-19, people they were not well acquainted with this, but now you see people talking about these days I'm working from home, remote work, right? Offshoring, outsourcing, right? The internet, COVID-19 has made it possible that you can access people. You don't need to hire someone from England to come and work here in South Africa. They can work for a company in South Africa whilst they are in the UK. The same, as a person here in South Africa, you can still be employed with a company that is in Australia and not go there, working here from home. So that's what remote working is made possible by information systems, right? Offshoring and outsourcing of skills. Then the last part we're talking about is management, right? Management. So like you guys, you are into management, right? So there are some information systems that you use in management. So let's start with accountants, right? So accountants in business firms, they rely heavily on information systems to help them produce a summary of transaction. So where they were supposed to give a summary of transaction in a document, like a physical document, A software does that, right? Handling financial records, right? Financial records, instead of maybe having a physical book, which every entry, right? People now, they've got the, I think there's a software called what? Sage. Is it Sage for accounting? I'm forgetting, right? I think there's a, you say there's the company that makes the software, right? Is it Sage or Payroll? I'm not so sure, right? But I think there must be a software, right, for guys that are in accounting, so that it can help them with it's Sage. Okay, thank you so much, right? So there is a software called Sage, right, where these accountant guys are actually helped, right, to do a summary of transaction, you know, handling financial records, organizing data, and doing some financial analysis, right? Okay. So accountants are required to have knowledge of the database reporting system. Because if we're talking about handling financial records, you need to be putting each entry, right? We say maybe here, I'm not good in accounting, but I'm just presuming, right? We bought information, we bought stuff from this company. You need to put that in, you need to have that record, right? The company bought this, the company bought that, you know, the invoices and the expenses and so forth. You need to keep a record of that. So that information was to be something that will be done daily and frequently. You can't store it in a very small folder or file. You need database, right? So they must have a knowledge of the database reporting system that they will be using with that information management system, right? And also a network which can be used to track the transactions which occur. So there are many transactions which can occur via the internet. So now they're talking about bringing the internet, helping the accountants to track, right? And now accountants also need to understand how online transaction, right, and reporting system work, right? There's actually I'm trying to look to is this what an online transaction processing system, I think OTP is, right? So there's actually a transaction processing system that might also be used, you know, to track these transactions that the guys in accounting will be doing. So let's look at marketing. So marketing is a field which has undergone many changes. I think some of you guys have seen it, right? We 5 to 10 years ago, we didn't know anything called e-commerce, right? But now we've got e-commerce. Look at Take a Lot. Look at what is another popular e-commerce site now, you know, Checkers has got what they call 60/60 app, right? Just buying things from the comfort of your home, and it's delivered from the comfort of your home, right? So now when we're talking about e-commerce, the era of the e-commerce now, right? We're talking about the usage of the internet as a way to sell. Then there is need of what we call internet advertising. That's why you see when you're on YouTube, bah, an advert comes. You see Facebook, bah, advert comes. Ah, guys, what's happening? That's what they call internet advertising. Back then, you know, 2012, 2013, 2014, when you were on Facebook, when you were on YouTube, you never knew anything. You would never meet any ads, right? Someone saying YouTube, all the ads in I think all YouTube ads are in between. I don't know if I'm really, I think YouTube, all the ads in between. Okay, so like maybe I think what this person is trying to say, like, you know, when you are just watching a video, right? The ad sometimes might be within the video or after, right? After when you finish the video, when you want to go to another, maybe another video, right? So it's part of internet advertising, right? Because they're trying to advertise to you using the internet. So it's very fast. It's unlike physical advertising. Because physical advertising, you have to meet the person wherever they are stationed. But internet advertising, as long as you just open a site, right? Bah! There's a what? There's an advert that is coming, but it is one of the most cost-effective way to market a brand. Internet advertising is much more effective than physical advertising. That's why you see companies, they pour in millions and thousands of dollars in advertising. I think in South Africa, they used to have like the billboard advertising. When you're going through like your freeways, you see, billboards and so forth, right? But nowadays they have the internet billboards, right? They've got the internet billboard. So information systems can be used to interact with the database of products. So you have a database that has got various products that you as a company offer, right? And what happens now is the marketing personnel will use the information system to generate reports on the products and then do a product performance by getting feedback from the customer. So what you do is you have a database of products. That's where now the type of information system that may be used here is you can use what is called the customer relationship management system, the CRM, because you'll be needing feedback from the customers, right? So what you do is your marketing information system, MIS, maybe will be linked to CRM, right? Where now after you've marketed, now you're getting the reports, right? So many people bought these products because you'll be selling online, right? E-commerce, for example. So many people bought this product so many times and so forth, right? If there are some people that are not happy, right, with the product itself, instant feedback. I was not like, for an example, you see, Airbnb, right? There's a facility where you maybe if you go to a certain place and you need accommodation, you don't want to go to a lodge or what do you call it, or a hotel. So there is Airbnb. It's more like the Uber of houses, right? The boat of houses. So what you do is if the guys are not happy with how the house was, instant feedback, you see, and no one can delete it except themselves, right? So that's the beauty of now the marketing, because the marketing, the feedback will be in real time, right? The person will give the feedback there and then. All right, so now using the customer relationship management system, one can create products specifically for what consumers want and manage the customer relationship. So this one, I talked about it, right? The CRM. So it will be under marketing also. All right. So let's look at operations management, right? Another section. So remember, we're talking about how information management affect your career. So if you are someone who is into marketing, that's what we're talking about. If you are someone who's into accounting, that's what we're talking about, right? If now you are someone who's into operation management, it means that operations management in services and manufacturing will employ information systems to help them with the everyday accomplishment of work. Because remember, operations is something that you'll be doing every day, right? So you need a software that will help you with what? With that. Then the industries are growing in size and complexity, and they've created a great demand for employees to produce goods and services. So as companies are growing bigger and bigger, the complexity of producing goods and services also is increasing. So when we are talking about complexity, it means you're bringing in a computer, right? Because people sometimes, geniuses are only those guys only who are good at solving complex things, but not everyone is a genius, remember, right? So when we are talking about complexity increasing in an organization, that's where you need information systems to come in. So now let's come to management, right? Which is applicable to most of you guys on this platform. So management has made use of information systems for enhancing productivity and streamlining business processes, right? So remember, we are saying productivity, employee productivity, right? Employee productivity also affects the organizational productivity itself or the organizational performance, right? So there is need that the management themselves enhance the productivity so that, you know, the business objectives can be met. So managers today, they use a variety of technologies to assist them in controlling the business. Now let's talk about outsourcing and offshoring opportunities. So when we're talking about outsourcing and offshoring opportunities, these are opportunities that have been created for information systems, among other service sector jobs, right? So one can obtain information system locally or from other countries who can create the software at much lesser price. So what they're talking about here is, instead of you buying a software, like that one, Sage, right, for accounting. I think the companies are right here, right? I think maybe in Midrand or so forth, right? Midrand or somewhere there, right? What you can do, a company can say, okay, we don't want a product from South Africa that is made by a company in South Africa. You can just maybe recruit guys, maybe from India. India is well known for guys that are good at programming. You might find just one or two guys, right, that are very good at programming, very good company, right? And then you can just make a deal with them. Then they can make the software for you. So that's what they're talking about, outsourcing and offshoring, right? It's more like the remote work that I was telling you about. Someone doing the software, but remotely. You are not to get there to get the software physically, right? They will just make it and then they send the package to you. All right. So basically that's what they will be talking about, right? The reason why people they do offshoring is because of cheap labor, right? Like in this case, some of the reasons why software will be cheaper to create offshore will be the low wage offered in some countries. That's why you see your iPhones. If there's someone who's using an iPhone here, just to give a practical example of what we're talking about, right? If there's someone who's using an iPhone right now, iPhones, they're not made in the US, right? Yes, the company is from US. Steve Jobs, the one who created the company, the guys, you know, the directors, you know, the what and so forth, those guys, they are in America. But the guys that are doing the dirty work, the operations guys, the ones that are, you know, combining the chips together, the circuits and so forth, they're in China. Why? Because there's cheap labor, right? Where in Africa or all over the world, where a work day is made up of 8 hours, I've heard that in China they can get to as much as, you know, 10 to 11. I don't know how true is that, right? So there's cheap labor, right, and low wages. Because remember, China is a country with the world's largest population. So obviously someone is willing to work for little money for them to survive, right? Because there's competition. So basically that's the reason why yes, someone saying China 12 hours and no overtime. Just imagine 12 hours on itself is overtime. You see, so it's too much. So that's the reason why companies like most of your phones, they're made in China. You see, you know, your Huawei's, you know, your Redmi phones, you know, your Xiaomi phones, your Samsung. I want to believe Samsung also. I think Samsung, if it's not Japan, it may be China, right? So you see that most of these things, yeah, Samsung also, thank you so much, right? So most of these things that they are done, you know, in China. That's why it's the second largest economy after America, right? It is actually a threat to America because they're so productive. You know, some of the products that they make, they are good, right? It's because of this issue that there are too many and so forth, and too much competition, right? So okay, we'll go to the next slide. All right, so now let's look at generally the types of the systems. Now we're talking about the departments, right? Accounting department, marketing department, operations management department, this department. Now let's look at the types of the information system that these various departments can use, right? So business managers are affected by the skills required for specific measures to create information systems, right? So what you need to realize is that whatever you are, your major is, you should be well aware of information systems and how they will achieve business objectives. So when your lecturer was talking about majors here, they're just talking about specialization, your business specialization. Are you into management? Are you into accounting? And are you into operations? Are you into various majors of a business, right? So when you are into management, then there's what we call a management information system, in MIS, right? So it makes decision, evaluates, puts on data, and so forth, right? So there is the guys that are into management, like you guys, there is a software called management information system dedicated for what you do. Then the guys that are into marketing, right? We talked about one of it called customer relationship management, the CRM. There's also what we call marketing information system. You can't exhaust, the types of information systems. I don't think I even know all of them. Each and every time you just see a new name of an information system, right? Because there are so many, they are tailor-made. I don't know if that is the correct word, tailor-made. I think so, right? Meaning that you have to create an information system that suits what you as an organization want. So two companies can have management systems, but they might be different, right? They might do the same thing, but they might be, yes, customized. Thank you so much, right? Customized, that's the word that I was looking for, right? So it's customized to suit the taste or what the lecture, the organization wants. So for marketing, there might be something called marketing information system. Some companies might use what do you call it, customer relationship management system, right? Then for those guys that are in accounting, we talked about Sage, right? There's also another one called accounting information systems, right? They do the same thing. As long as you get results, is what is much more important, right? And then the guys that are into human resources, there's what we call HRIS, human resource information systems. Remember, these are not all information systems. There are so many out there. There's a DSS, there's EIS, there's what TPS, there's you can't finish. You can't finish. So just as a student, just know maybe 5 or 6. Right, 5 or 6, and just know how they operate, not in full detail. Like you just know that HRIS is used by human resource guys, MIS, management information system, is used by guys that are in management, DSS, decision support systems, they are used by guys that are in executives, the executive guys that make decisions, executive information system, EIS, they are used by the guys that are top there. So you just know, having an idea. Right, just having an idea. So basically, those guys, the guys that recruit at a company, they actually have a software, that will help them. So the last segment of the first topic that we're going to be talking about tonight is business drivers of information systems, right? So what are the business drivers of information systems? So one of the things that drives information systems is operational excellence. That's the reason why, guys make, information systems. Hey, we want an information system. We want the latest one. Why? They want to achieve what is called operational excellence. Surpassing customer expectation, strategic direction, leadership engagement, right? Process excellence, right? Employee involvement, superior safety. You see, it's all about operational excellent. Yeah, that's why you see sometimes when you go to certain companies, they will be having those, what do you call it, the awards. The best what in 2022, the best what in 2021, the best what. Why? They're trying to tell their customers that we are the best in the market. Operational excellence. So this is one of the things that drives information systems, why they are made. Then product launch, talking about a new product, a new service, a new business process, right? So when you want to launch maybe a product, you might want systems that are top-notch, right? state of the art to help you, right? To produce a product that is good. That's why you see Samsung each and every year they produce latest phones. iPhone, they produce latest phone. Look at Nokia. Nokia used to make what I don't know if some of you still remember. Back then, 2011, 2012, there were these phones for Nokia phones. The E with so many numbers there. They were using a software called Symbian. Nowadays, we talk about iOS, right, for Apple, and we talk about Android, right, for Android phones. Back then, there was, Nokia was, before Nokia used this, became an Android company. It was using another, OS called Symbian. Look at your BlackBerry, right? 5 years down the line, 5 years ago, I think BlackBerry was, was a thing, right? You'll be seeing someone with a BlackBerry phone today, I think your BlackBerry back then was more like your iPhone. You see, but where is BlackBerry now, right? Because they have got to go with the trend, right? They've got to go with what? With the trend. So there's something also called customer intimacy. You need to be engaging with the customer. So you would want information system that will allow you to interact with your customer the more, or your supplier actually. Static guide, they say customer and supplier intimacy, right? So you want information system that will allow you to engage with your customer frequently, right? Because at the end of the day, if a customer is not happy, they will leave. If a supplier is not happy, they will leave. So you need to have a good relation with the other guys. Then the last one is what we call the competitive advantage. So I left I think 2 others: survival and improving decision making, right? You can just check in your study guide. I didn't put everything in, right? So there's what we call competitive advantage. Yes, that's what each and every company wants, to be ahead. That's why people make things that are unique, right? You can't find a phone manufacturing company that can beat iPhone. You can't. The other companies like Samsung, like your Oppo, OPPO, or your Xiaomi, they'll be fighting one another to get the 2nd place, the 3rd place, the 4th place. But ever since Apple came, it has never been dethroned. Why? Because they have what we call a competitive advantage, right? All these other guys, they share the same iOS, but there is no company that uses iOS like what? Like iPhone. The other time I was talking this other guy, you see, your Huawei's, they'll be saying, hey, buy this Huawei Nova 7. It has got maybe 50 megapixel. But you go to iPhone will be like, maybe it doesn't have much megapixel, but because of the technology, it allows you to take pictures so nicely without having so many megapixels. So it's because of the competitive advantage. No one can beat them. So when we're talking about operational excellence, right, we're almost done. We're talking about how a business continually seeks to improve their operations and make much more efficient, right? So managers now, to be much more efficient, they rely on information systems and technologies so that they can achieve higher levels of efficiency and productivity when they are doing their business operations, right? Then when we're talking about new products, the product launch, right? They can be created using information systems and technologies. When you want to launch a product, right? Information systems and technology will help you. So these tools, they can create business models, right? Which will describe the way a company will produce, deliver, and sell the product in order to create wealth. Then there is what we call improved decision making, right? So improved, remember we're talking about drivers of business information system. So in order to improve decision-making system is one of the drivers that can push why a company must have the latest of the information system, right? Because now when managers are making decisions, right, having the right information at the right time, right, to make a decision will be very, very, very critical. That's where now, you know, the companies, they make what we call forecasts, right, to make decisions. Okay, with how the economy is performing, what do you think? What do you think in the next maybe a year? What is your forecast of our sales and so forth, right? So they need now, it's beyond human thinking, unless you are a genius, right? Like I said, not everyone is a genius. So that's why people, they use information systems, computing power, computers, right? Because computers, they don't make mistakes. That's your AI, right? And then we have customer and supplier intimacy, right? So customer and supplier intimacy, okay, when customers are treated well by a business. I think we talked about it, right? Customer relationship. If a company does not treat customers nicely, there is another company that offers the same services. Remember, it's a competition. A company does not exist on its own. It's not self-existent. It lives in an environment, an external environment. So one of the things that constitute an external environment are competitors or rivals, right? So if a customer is not happy, there are so many companies there to go and purchase, right? So also a company must engage with suppliers, right? Because at the end of the day, they want to find a supplier who provides things at a lower cost, but does not compromise on quality, right? Then the last thing is competitive advantage, right? So it occurs when a business has achieved one or more of the 6 business objectives, right? So achieving the competitive advantage will mean you'll be doing things better than your competitor, which is good. So it might be offering products at a less cost, or you'll be providing a response to customer, right? Some companies, they don't, right? And maybe your supplier, right? You can actually track them, right? Using maybe a supply chain management system, or maybe you can achieve higher profits than your competitor. So at the end of the day, this competitive advantage is a driver for information systems to be made, because people, they want to stay ahead of their competitors. All right, so guys, this is what I had for you for this lecture. So next week when we're meeting, I'll see when I make the slides whether it will include section 2 only or both section 2 and 3rd section, right? I'll see with how when I will be making those slides. But on all that we have done, I have seen questions on dimensions, right? Dimensions of information system. That one you must know, right? Just make sure that you have an idea of that, because it looks like they might like it a lot. It might not come as an assignment, but it might come in the exam, right? Then the others, I haven't seen much. I haven't seen much of questions pertaining to that, but it doesn't rule out that your lecturer might ask you, right? So then next week also, when we do that topic, I'll also bring a question also that might be related, that I've seen, that might be related to the stuff that we'll be talking, and try by all means to bring practical examples so that you can understand this as clearly and as practically as possible. Well, thank you so much. I'm not so sure if there are any questions. Now, if there are no questions, then I think we can call it. Okay, we have a lecture on Tuesday, the 9th of August. Is it a holiday? Hey, some of us, is it a holiday? The 9th of August. Yes. Okay.
It's a holiday.
It's a holiday. Okay. Do you want one? Do you want a lecture or you don't want? It's you guys who, if you say you want it, we'll give it to you. If you don't want it, we will not give it to you. So someone is saying, I believe the yes is for, yes, we want the lecture, right?
Yes.
Maybe earlier than 7 o'clock.
Earlier than 7 o'clock. Okay, let me see. Let me see if we can make it maybe around 6 or half 6, right? Just let me write this down. Let me write this down. 6 p.m. Yeah, I'll see whether 6 p.m. I'll make sure that I will not forget, right? It's what it will be on the 9th. The 9th. Show the next week. Let me just write this down first. Okay, so information management, maybe around 6 or 7, right? 6 p.m. or 6:30. All right, so what I'll do is I think I will have to let you guys know the time. When either James or whoever sends the link, they will send the link with the time. So either it will be 6 p.m. or it will be 6:30. Someone is saying, would the lecture be someone is saying, would the lecture be free? No, the lecture will not be free. This is the last free lecture, right? So from next week, people are paying. So I'm laughing at someone who's saying we may need a break. Yeah, you may need a break, guys. So it's fine. I'll try to make it as short as possible since it's a holiday. Can we please know before the day? All right. So what I would do is someone is saying 6:30, please. Okay. So there are some people who are saying 6 p.m. There are some who are saying 6:30. Okay. So 6 p.m. I'm not so sure if there are people that might be working, but if there are people that might be working, remember they might be caught up in traffic. So let's say maybe 6:30. If everyone is okay with 6:30, okay, someone is saying 6. Okay, so we might have a lot of people saying 6. Oh, okay. All right, so let's say 6. 6. I think 6 might be fine. So let's say 6 p.m. so that people at least they can relax, right? They can relax earlier. So we'll make it 6 p.m. All right. So the lecture on the 9th. So don't forget that the next lecture will not be free. So only those that would have paid will have access to the link, right? So today was the last one. Was the last lecture. All right, guys, thank you so much. So we'll meet. Actually, the 9th is next week, right? Yes. So we'll meet next week, 6 p.m. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kuda.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Very good game.